Well, thank you, Llandudno, for your kind invitation to be here this morning. I can tell you it's a long trip to make a 15-minute speech, but it's hell going to be worth it. I hope you'll bear with me. And one day soon, it'll be my pleasure to say to UKIP conference, welcome to Belfast, because I can promise you a great time there when you come. I'm very pleased to tell you UKIP Northern Ireland has a team, a super team of 13 candidates running for the Stormont Assembly in Northern Ireland, 13 with no fear. And it's not that I'm superstitious, but if there is anyone out there with a deposit and a ferry ticket willing to step forward and come across and volunteer to be number 14, you'll be very, very welcome. You know, you'd think Farage or Nuttall would, with this little matter of a referendum getting in the way, come over and fight the cause for us. Fight for us in Londonderry. How about it, Nigel? You against Martin McGuinness in Londonderry? The People's Army commander against the Provo IRA commander. Well, hell, that'll go down in folklore. But seriously, though, in your name, UKIP have a great team of one fine lady and 12 solid men carrying our banner into hostile battle lines of the Assembly elections. We will do well, I promise you. We will win 4 seats and we will increase our share of the vote. And let me assure you, conference, we will plant the UKIP brand of non-sectarian, anti-racist, strong-willed and dignified British values for British people right into the heartlands of both Protestant unionist loyalism and Catholic nationalist republicanism. We will go anywhere we want to go in Northern Ireland. And when UKIPers knock on the doors and say, we want our country back, don't you? No one says, which country, mate? They know that our message is unique and distinct in Northern Ireland because our country is the same country as yours. It's where you are. Our devolved government is in Belfast. It's not in Dublin and it's not in Brussels. Our allegiance is to one union, the union of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. We hold no allegiance to this so-called Union of Europe. Friends, I listened to Scotland's most accomplished lady, Nicola Sturgeon, and her apprentice, Leanne Wood, from Wales. And when I do, I think of Bernadette Devlin. I reel from their venomous mastery of self-styled, self-proclaimed Scots and Welsh republicanism. It's too often bitter in their self-appreciation society, which, let me tell you, because I know, it's joined at the hip with Sinn Féin's Gerry Adams, his arrogance and his hatred for all things that are British. They are no different, except the ones that you have only use the ballot box, not the Armalite. Oh, yes. So I wonder, just when the esteemed and great people of Wales and Scotland are going to waken up to their anti-British politicians enjoying the company and sharing in the goals of the same political wing of the IRA known as Sinn Féin. In my time, the Welsh, the Scots, the English, you never let Northern Ireland down. So conference, and particularly here when I'm in Wales, let me say, when one considers Republicans or nationalists, you be very careful of what you wish for. This union is worth saving. And I suggest to you that within our union there is a better way to deliver self-determination. How about a real UKIP alternative to uprooting policies of the nationalists? How about it, David and Wales? How about UKIP together in Belfast, Edinburgh and Cardiff in a united pro-union, pro-British Celtic union of unionists instead of nationalists? And when I say that, I frighten myself with the thought of Welsh grit, Scots obstinacy, Ulster guile, just showing us all what this union is about. And okay, I know our rump is in England, and thank God for it, so let's add England panache. Bring it on. I'm prone to talk about regionalism. It's not republicanism. It's revivalism. What about an old-time revival? In my region, our health service is no longer a service. Overworked doctors and nurses, trolley beds for the elderly, and A&Es, a danger to all who enter. Does that sound familiar? Over 100,000 people in pain waiting on procedure appointments. I'm sure that sounds familiar. Our education system denies parental choice at primary level. Good teachers are put out to grass at 40. And deprivation is measured by free school meals. Does that sound familiar to you? Yes. Pensioners choose between heating and eating. Yes. We have food banks in our 21st century. Preschool places for young working parents cost as much as their mortgage. Criminals have more rights than their victims. Our roads have potholes like craters. The streetlights don't work. And to help the claim culture, our footpaths are like crazy paving. And yes, I've heard that said, we're all in it together. Well, it's deep shit that we're in it together. The litany of incompetence waffle, this austerity foot stamping is endless. We don't have any Tories about us at Stormont. Yet their influence stretches to Belfast with the iron hand of wide boy millionaires, most who've never held down a proper job in their lives, and they're knocking 10 bells out of my people coming out of 40 years of terrorism. So come on, UKIP, and come on this conference. Our minds are very clear, aren't they? And let's now clear the minds of the people. They're with us on the external extremities of the EU. Now bring them together to compete against the internal straitjackets imposed on our country. And on a matter of which, let me say with due respect, my candidates are concentrating on the 5th of May election. Their focus is winning seats. Come the 6th of May, our celebrations will immediately turn to the job to be done for the 23rd of June. And for my part in Northern Ireland, I have a role to deliver an election in tandem with the referendum campaign. Both will be done, but right now, the election comes first. I want to say thank you to Nigel Farage and their MEPs. He's coming to Northern Ireland twice next week, and I'll see him today. It's like that proverbial bus. You know, you're waiting on one and along comes three at blah. But at home on the EU, the Sinn Féin have let the cat out of the bag, or in their case, they brought out their rusty rifles to threaten again. They've declared to vote to remain. They say the EU is their best ticket to get into United Ireland. And I say, well, thanks for that. If Sinn Féin want to stay in, that's bloomin' good enough for 500,000 unionists to come out. If we ever needed a reason Gerry Adams has delivered big time. If he's in, then I'm out, and that's a certainty. And Chairman, on this little welcome distraction on the matter of the European Union, let me say, to me, UKIP is more than a party. UKIP's a cause, and it's a very worthwhile cause, which I believe passionately in. It's a cause for people and not for egos. It's a cause for people and not their personal ambition. And it's a cause that my people have found a home in. So I don't want to be let down. And why not? I'll tell you, Northern Ireland has the only land border in the United Kingdom. It rests against the EU's largest benefactor and cheerleader, our friendly neighbours in the Irish Republic, and most are our friends. Yet even friends interfere, and worse, some talk with twisted tongues. Take a couple of weeks ago, when Taoiseach Enda Kenny stood outside Downing Street, almost weeping at the thoughts of the British leaving the EU. He worries very deeply for his British friends and the effect there could be on cross-border trade. Let me tell you just a little bit about the United Kingdom's only land border. It's invisible. My good friend Steve Wolfe crossed it with me, and he was wondering when a policeman from either side would apprehend us. There's no markings to say you've crossed from a sovereign country to a neighbouring republic. No one patrols the border. There are no border checks, no passport controls. It's a trafficker's dreamland. It's Schengen in reverse. So tell me, Prime Minister, today, when you said this about Brussels, this deal, we will be out of the parts of Europe that don't work for us, out of open borders. Which border are you talking about, Prime Minister? It's not ours. It's not the United Kingdom's land border. So which border is it, Prime Minister? Does open borders mean, therefore, you will inform the Irish that border controls will be introduced on June the 24th? Because in Dublin, the Garda Síochána consider young radical Muslims to be more of a concern security-wise than dissident IRA groups. Our own police in Northern Ireland, the PSNI, believe that an Islamic attack has moved from moderate to serious. This is the British land border I'm talking about. This is Belfast, a British Belfast, a capital city under threat. Conference, it's our border. The very same border used by the IRA to cross over and commit atrocities and then sneak back in darkness into their Irish state of haven, of comfort and freedom from justice. And right now, as I speak to you, this porous border is a gateway for illegal, undesirables, criminals, people traffickers crossing into the United Kingdom. Some stop in my country, most move across the ferry routes into your regions. It's easy. There are no checks. They simply walk in undetected. I think I've made my point to you about borders, Prime Minister. And just before I close conference, a couple of things. I've lived through a dirty, bloody, sinister war, and never was or never could it be that of sectarianism or racism saying that they were things to follow. They weren't things to follow then, they're not now, and I hope they never will be. I have seen the results of both at work, and let me tell you, they stink. But not as much as the retching stench choking me when I listen to the hypocrites who use the back door for EU funding when their case hasn't stacked up for legitimate money. They and their likes are no good for the United Kingdom. Carpetbaggers PLC just brings us ruination. UKIP, I leave with this. Be strong. Be one voice, one message, one cause. Get out there and bring the grassroots with you. And if you wish, tell them this proud Ulsterman said, there's nothing wrong in being plain old British. Thank you.